There are five main areas that you will go through and experience, five phases when you experience the narcissist abuse. And I don't mean the five phases based on the perception of what the narcissist does to you. These are the five phases that you as an empath, as a victim, are going to go through. And the first one is what I call the rope-a-dope. It's when you've been bamboozled, when you've been fooled, manipulated, seduced into thinking and believing and feeling that this person is the most amazing person you've ever met. Your guards, all your defenses, all your awareness goes out the window. And again, I'm not going to focus on the strategies that the narcissist implements, but you've been fooled, you've been bamboozled. The rope-a-dope. You have no clue what's going on. It feels amazing. And then you get to phase number two. And that's when you've gone through the rope-a-dope, they've reeled you in, and now you get to the point where you start to grieve. You start to grieve the loss of you. You start to grieve the fact that they are not who they pretended to be. And it's the most excruciating form of grieving anybody can possibly experience. It's more than a heartbroken love affair or a heartbreaking love affair. It's much deeper than that. You are grieving the loss of your soul, your spirit, your identity, the essence of who you are, your self-esteem. You are grieving the loss of you, and it's excruciating. It hurts like a son of a... And unfortunately, during that grieving phase, there's not much you can do other than embrace the pain and the grieving. It's inevitable. It's going to take time. So that's number two, grieving phase. And as you start to come out of the grieving phase, you're not quite at the grieving phase. This is sort of grieving phase part two, if you will, but I'm putting it down as part three. As you exit slowly, gently, that grieving phase, you're going to go into what's called the blaming phase. And rightly so, you are going to blame and point out how horrible this person was, because they really were. They were a dark form of demon possession that you probably didn't think existed. They will have done and said things that you thought were humanly impossible, that nobody could stoop to such heartless behaviors and actions. So go ahead and blame them. They did this. Can you believe they said that? Get it out of your system. Blame, blame, blame. Acknowledge the fact that they were horrible people. And as you get that blame, as you get that toxic, negative anger, frustration, disappointment, hurt, rebellion out of your system, that blame is slowly going to shift to a level of awareness. You're going to start to become aware, fully aware, that they abused you. You're going to start to gain a little bit more clarity. When you're in the blame phase, you're just angry and you're focused on how evil they were. Now you're stepping away slowly, getting into the awareness phase. You start to learn. You start to inform and educate yourself as to what happened. You start to realize what the patterns were, what the behaviors were, the red flags that you missed. And this is a really promising, optimistic level when you start to become aware. Through awareness, hopefully you have stepped out fully of the grieving phase now. But what's going to happen is there are going to be moments where you will relapse, and that's perfectly normal. You will reach a level of awareness where you think, yeah, I've got this figured out. I understand what happened. And then you're going to go back to the blame phase. And then you're going to go back into a grieving phase where the pain comes out of nowhere and it's going to knock you off your feet. Embrace it. But in the awareness phase, that's where you've got to start becoming intentional. You realize what happened. You realize who they were. You realize now that you need to step away. You need to escape. This is where now you've got to be hyper-focused and dig into your character, your resilience, your self-fortitude, your whatever self-confidence you have left. dig deep into that, because this is going to be the impetus to get you completely free. Awareness. So you've gone through the rope-a-dope phase, you've gone through the grieving phase, and now you're at the awareness phase. We're almost there. You're almost free. From the awareness phase, you're going to develop accountability. The blaming is going to stop. You're going to take ownership as to what happened. You're going to take ownership that you allowed it to happen, even as horrible and as manipulative as they were. There is a level of accountability. I ignored the red flags. I gave them too many chances. I didn't set the right boundaries. I didn't set any boundaries. You take full accountability and responsibility as to the part that you played. If you reach this part, when you reach this part, this is already a high level of empath empowerment, conscious empath. You step out of yourself, you look from a neutral perspective, and you understand, here's what I did, here's what I should have, could have done. And this would have never happened. And then through that level of awareness and accountability, you get into, still under awareness, now you have the decision phase. What happens next? You're aware. What are you now going to do with that level of awareness? Do you stick around? Do you learn to try and start now setting boundaries, which is probably too late? What do you do next? Make that decision. Do you leave them? Do you walk away? Do you try and fix them, which I don't recommend because they can't be fixed? But what's that all life-changing decision you are now about to undertake? To give you some advice and a hint, the only decision to be made now is establishing your escape plan, implementing your escape plan. And that brings us in to step number 5. This is now the big step. This is where you take action. You've decided what you want to do. You're aware. You've now decided, I need to get away from this person. And now the talk needs to become the walk. You've now got to follow through on the action steps to help you break free. It might mean no contact. It might mean forgiveness. It might mean no forgiveness. But either way, you can forgive and walk away. You can not forgive and walk away. But whatever you do, make that decision. Take the action to go no contact. Now, this is the really hard part about the action step. During that action step, a lot of us, myself included, I went through this phase where you validate, you're not quite ready to leave yet. And you keep validating and finding reasons and ways as to why you can't leave. You know you need to leave. But you keep telling yourself, well, I can't because of this. I can't because of money. I can't because of this reason and that reason. And it's because you're searching for a way to take action, but you're not fully convinced you have the courage yet, or the resilience, or the fortitude. And so you've got to keep digging deep until you get to the point of taking action. Until you take action, you will be enslaved by the evil grasp of the manipulative narcissist and their abuse. Until you take action, you are still a slave of their evil, dark, twisted power. So you must take action. And the only effective action is no contact, and is to walk away at all and any costs. Walk away, walk away, walk away.